All right, so this is I'm sounding like a lot like a broken record every single time I say that we're doing something different, but this is a movie that Jessup has shown to Patrick and I, and we talk about it a lot whenever we do these reviews, but we never actually gave it a full review.
So
So
we're going to fix this.
so that's why, and I think this movie is 40 years old now.
About 40
East
years, yeah. It was made in the 80s.
late 80s.
84, if I'm correct. We're going to be reviewing the Jim Henson movie Labyrinth, starring the very talented late David Bowie
And Jennifer Connelly.
and Jennifer Connelly. Now, basically, the whole premise of Labyrinth is a teenage girl played by Jennifer Connelly wishes that her baby brother be taken away by the Goblin King, played by David Bowie. And having regretting her wish, she now has to solve a labyrinth, and along the way, she comes across a lot of colorful characters.
Some Will loves more than others. I'm sorry.
Now,
There's one scene in this movie Will does not like at all, and I was giving him a hard time while we were watching it about the
although,
scene.
to this movie's credit, I don't know if it was this movie or if it was something I watched later, where I actually grew quite a bit of a liking for practical effects, which is most of the effects in this movie.
Yeah, they do some green screen in this one. They were experimenting with it because this is a movie from the 80s where green screen wasn't like really as very that good. It wasn't that good back then.
Yeah.
And it's come a long way. Like you can do some good green screen if you're careful.
In fact, in the opening sequence for our Labyrinth, the owl that we see is the first computer-generated image that
Is
was.
it really?
I believe so. I think that entire sequence
Actually, it might be the only
was
one.
the first of its kind.
It might be the only computer generated image in this whole movie, I think.
No, there's still. It's a mix of CGI and a lot of practical and green screen.
Oh,
And
well,
it does hold up. It did get nominated a BAFTA for best visual effects.
Huh. And you can see why. Like this is pretty good effects for the time.
yeah, like the puppet designs were great. I love the set design. Granted, the green screen effects could be hit or miss.
Yeah.
Some
Um,
things age better than others. Some can
And
age like
but
wine.
look at
Some age like apples left out in the sun and rain for
uh,
months.
look. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but let's take another example of a movie that's mostly CG, where the entire room was like one big like green or blue screen. The new Avatar movie, that's like 95% CG, and it all looks incredible considering that it's not just like a long piece of fabric that's hanging on a wall. It's like covering the entire room.
mhm.
But anyways, back to Labyrinth. Um,
um yeah. We also add in I think we all know who the real star of this show is. The
David
Yes.
one,
Bowie.
the man, David Bowie.
Oh yeah, this is a
So
guy. Sorry, go ahead, Jessup. I'll let you do
so
that.
for our younger audience, and those who might not know, David Bowie is this big influential singer from the time period. And he's in this as the Goblin King, as Will said. And he could write some original music for the soundtrack, and they feature throughout the movie, and they're fun. They're fun songs.
Mhm.
But he is a legend. His music's touched a lot of people. I'm a huge fan of his music. In 2016, he was sadly taken from us. His legacy lives on in this movie.
Yeah, it does.
This movie just oozes Bowie.
I
A
think
lot, a long, long Bowie.
ah,
For those who don't know, there is a huge wardrobe malfunction in the movie involving David Bowie.
Throughout the entire movie, actually.
Yeah, it lasted almost the whole movie.
it's kind of hard to not see.
Hard to not see.
Oh
All
God.
right. Remember, we have a
All right, all right.
So,
Now, while David Bowie is great, one of the things that I think people should also talk about is Jennifer Connelly. Now, I know we all know she goes on to for bigger roles. Not to say this was big, but she actually ended up being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for quite some time. But
Oh yeah, it's Friday, right?
No,
Yeah.
not Friday. She
she was
was Spider-Man's AI.
Oh
She was
yeah.
Spider-Man's AI. Yeah.
no, she was oh, Karen,
Those are called Karen, yeah.
the Spider-Man voice.
Yeah.
But anyways, granted, her performance, I'm just gonna put it bluntly, it's pretty bland to start off the movie, but it slowly as the movie goes on, it actually does get better.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's not an Oscar-winning performance,
It's
but
one of her earliest films.
what was that, Patrick?
It was one of her earliest films. Not everyone's gonna have a Anna Paquin debut. And for those
Oh,
of you
not
who
at all.
don't know, Anna Paquin was Rogue in the X-Men movies, and her first film was in The Piano as the as Holly Hunter's character's daughter. For that role, she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. But anyways, she does Jennifer Connelly's character Sarah. She is whiny. She is dramatic. She is a dreamer. But as the movie progresses, we see how her performance does change throughout the movie as it's reflecting her own personal growth. She's starting to mature. She's starting to become more insightful. She's trying to stay to with her feet firmly on the ground. And that doesn't mean she's going to give up everything about herself. She's growing up, but that doesn't mean that she has to give up everything.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good way to put it, Patrick.
It was actually something that I discussed when I saw this with in my film class in high school. I was a bit confused about the ending, and the teacher suggested it's less with the ending and her reuniting with her friends. It's not about it. What it really symbolizes is not her discarding all of her childhood. It's just putting it aside and just bringing it out once in a while when she needs it. Just when in times when she needs those memories.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to put it. Jessup, do you have any additional comments you want to make?
How do you feel about the side characters? Like the companion she
Oh,
makes, Hoggle, Ludo, and Didymus.
Yes, Will, please tell us how you feel about all of your favorite characters from that one scene.
No, no,
all right.
no, no, no. I'm talking about the companion she makes.
Yeah, Hoggle,
Okay.
Ludo, and Sir
Yeah.
Didymus.
Can I go first on Ludo since he's my favorite character in the whole thing?
By all means.
Okay, so if you actually pay attention throughout the movie, it's kind of a very mean. The World of Labyrinth is very mean and pretty cruel to the people who live there. And Ludo's like this innocent creature who just doesn't understand the cruelness. And I feel like Sarah's presence in the labyrinth can kind of influence the whole labyrinth too. Like they become like her friends.
No, that's a good one. I liked Sir Didymus. Like he's feisty, he's like full of energy, but he also has a lot of honor to him. Like he tries to hold a knight's code.
Yeah. I
Um, sorry, go ahead.
I mentioned it earlier, but there was a manga comic series I read that called Return to Labyrinth that kind of was act as a continuation where where the baby as a teenager gets in the labyrinth and goes on his own adventure. And Sir Didymus does come back in that.
And so just
Hoggle and Ludo do too, but they're not as big in the Sir Didymus has a kind of a bigger role. And I will be honest, I don't remember if it was good or not. So I read this a long time ago, and I never read the final issue.
reviews. So
All right.
I
So
do remember there was one bit where Didymus was trying to teach Toby the baby sword fighting. And I don't know if I remember this, but he's demonstrating with other characters that the baby had met on his journey, like some of the newer characters, and they all just keep beating him.
So yeah, we like this movie. We think it's quite underrated, and we think you should check it out for sure.
Does it have problems? Yes. Do we love it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So about the next review I want to do.
Oh, it's your turn. That's right, Will.
So, guys, I have a little bit of a problem with this. So, I seem to have this unnatural force going on in my house.
The Schwartz?
The Schwartz, you ruined the setup.
I was thinking Star Wars, but is it Poltergeist?
um, it is something that has to do with the supernatural,
Insidious?
but I got one question. Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters.
Oh yes, I'm down for
But
it.
there's
Orange
a little bit of
Company.
a twist to this one.
Okay.
It's not just Ghostbusters. We are bringing in some new characters into this.
Oh, are we doing the new one? The Afterlife one with Finn Wolfhard?
We're doing Afterlife.
I'm down for that one.
All right. I don't really have it. There's only one line I could quote from this movie. I think we all know what it's gonna be. Should
What
we
is
all
it?
try to say it at the same time? 3, 2, 1. Tra la la.
I wasn't sure where you're gonna go.
Pluto down.
All right. We will see you for Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Okay.
All right. Keep in touch.